So we've all been there, right? You commit to a new habit, maybe going to the gym or breaking an old one, but, well, the motivation just fizzles out after a week or two.
Mm-hmm. Or you see all this advice online, all these self-help strategies, and it's just overwhelming. Where do you even start?
Exactly. Today, we're going to cut through some of that noise. We're doing a deep dive into a really powerful framework for making changes that actually stick.
Yeah, a system that focuses on small, manageable steps.
Precisely. Our subject is James Clear's huge bestseller, Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. Think of this as our exploration into how tiny adjustments, these atomic changes, can seriously compound over time.
They really can lead to massive results. It's quite remarkable.
It is. So for this deep dive, what are we drawing on?
Well, we've got excerpts directly from the book itself and also a pretty detailed high-level review.
Hmm.
Our mission, really, is to pull out the absolute core ideas, the most valuable insights for you.
Make it clear and actionable.
Exactly. Get you the nuggets of wisdom without you having to wade through everything if you haven't read it yet.
Right. And it's important to set the stage. This isn't about, miracle cures or overnight transformations.
No, definitely not.
Clear offers a very practical, research-backed system. It's praised everywhere for being super clear, very usable.
Yeah, the clarity is a big plus.
And it applies whether you're aiming for better productivity, maybe improving your health, shifting your mindset, or changing pretty much any behavior. It consistently gets really high marks, like 9.5 out of 10 in its genre.
It's definitely made an impact.
Okay, so let's get into the core idea first. This concept behind Atomic Habits, it's all about the power of these small, consistent changes, right?
That's the foundation.
Yeah.
He argues these tiny adjustments, like 1% improvements, they compound, just like interest in a savings account.
Mm-hmm. You don't see huge results on day one, maybe not even week one.
Right. It can feel slow initially, but they build up almost exponentially, kind of under the radar.
So every little action matters, even if it feels insignificant at the time.
Exactly. Yeah. Every tiny habit is part of a much larger system.
And Clear builds on existing ideas, doesn't he? Like the habit loop.
Yes, the classic cue, craving, response, reward loop. It's been around. But what Clear does brilliantly is make it incredibly actionable.
Oh, so.
He provides a clear framework, his 4 laws of behavior change, to consciously engineer each part of that loop to work for you, not against you. It's much more practical than just understanding the loop exists.
Okay, let's break those down. The 4 laws, what's the first one?
The first law is make it obvious. This targets the cue, the trigger for the habit.
Right, the thing that kicks it all off.
Yeah. And it's not just about noticing your cues, though awareness is key. He really stresses designing your environment.
Ah, so making the good habits like physically visible and the bad ones invisible.
Precisely. Make the cue for a good habit unmissable. And he offers great techniques here, like habit stacking.
Oh yeah, I like that one, where you tie a new habit to one you already do automatically.
Exactly. Like his example. After I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. You use the existing habit as the cue for the new one.
Simple but effective. And didn't he also mention a habit scorecard?
Yes, that's a tool for awareness. Basically, listing out your current daily habits to see what the cues actually are, because often they're unconscious.
Brings them into the light. Okay, so law 1, make it obvious. What's next?
Law 2 is make it attractive. This focuses on the craving part of the loop.
The motivation, the desire.
The more appealing a habit seems, the more likely you are to actually do it. Makes sense, right?
Totally. How do you make, say, flossing attractive?
Huh. Well, one technique is temptation bundling. This is where you pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do.
Like the example you mentioned earlier, watching your favorite show only while you're on the exercise bike.
Exactly that. You leverage the dopamine hit from the enjoyable activity to pull you through the less attractive but necessary habit.
Clever. It ties the reward closer.
It does. And another big point he makes under make it attractive is the power of your social environment.
Ah, the people you hang out with.
Yeah. Surround yourself with people for whom your desired behavior is their normal behavior. Their habits become attractive almost by osmosis. You start to want to fit in.
That's powerful. So we've got make it obvious, cue, and make it attractive, craving. What about actually doing the thing?
Right. That leads to law 3, make it easy. This addresses the response to habit itself.
Okay, this sounds intuitive. Reduce the friction.
Exactly. Make it as simple as possible to act. Prioritize showing up, the repetition, over making it perfect, especially the start.
This reminds me of that killer quote from the book.
Oh, I bet I know which one. You don't rise to the level of your goals.
You fall to the level of your systems. Yes. That one really hit me. It's not about sheer willpower or ambition alone.
No, it's about the reliability of your process.
Mhm.
And to make things easy, he introduces the 2-minute rule.
Right. Scale any new habit down so it takes less than 2 minutes to do.
Yep. Read before bed each night becomes read 1 page, or go for a run becomes.
Put on my running shoes. I admit, when I first heard that, I thought, that's it. What good does that do?
Sounds almost too simple.
But trying it out, just that tiny first step,
Yeah,
it somehow breaks the inertia. It gets you over that initial hump of resistance.
precisely. It's about mastering the art of showing up. The rest can follow.
Okay, so make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy. What seals the deal?
The final law? Law 4, make it satisfying. This targets the reward.
Making sure the brain gets a little good job signal immediately.
You got it. The more immediately satisfying a habit feels, the more likely your brain is to repeat it. We want that dopamine hit.
So things like a habit tracker, that little check mark can be surprisingly motivating.
Absolutely. It provides immediate visual proof of progress, a small win. That reinforces the loop. Keep doing that.
But Clear takes this deeper, doesn't he? Beyond just the immediate reward.
Yes, and this is maybe the most profound part. Identity-based habits.
Shifting from what you want to achieve to who you want to become.
Exactly. Instead focusing on, I want to run 3 times a week, outcome-based, you focus on, I am a runner, identity-based.
So the goal isn't the run itself, but embodying the identity of a runner.
Right. Because if you see yourself as a runner, then going for a run isn't a chore you force yourself into. It's simply acting in alignment with who you are. True behavior change, he argues, is identity change.
That identity piece, it really reframes everything. It's not just about willpower, which, let's face it, is often in short supply.
Right. It feels finite.
But tying habits to your sense of self, who you are, that feels much more sustainable. It's intrinsically motivating.
It connects to that other powerful line of his, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become.
Yeah, I love that. Each tiny habit, each choice is casting a ballot for your future identity. It makes even small actions feel meaningful.
Definitely. And this ties directly into his distinction between systems versus goals.
Okay, explain that difference. Goals are the destination, right?
Goals are the results you want, the finish line. Systems are the processes, the daily or weekly practices that get you there.
And Clear says focus on the systems.
Emphatically, yes. Goals are good for setting direction, but systems are what actually drive progress. If you have a good system, the goals often take care of themselves.
Which brings us back to that quote again.
You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. It bears repeating because it's so central. Focus on building and refining your daily process.
That focus on process really underscores the strengths of the book, I think. It's so actionable.
Oh, absolutely. Every chapter gives you concrete steps you can take right away.
And it's grounded in science, psychology, and neuroscience, but presented in a way that's really easy to grasp. No dense academic stuff.
He simplifies complex ideas very effectively. Plus, the principles are so flexible, you can apply them to work, health, relationships, anything.
And the stories and analogies he uses really help make the concepts stick, don't they?
They do. They make it relatable.
Now, to be balanced, are there any common criticisms or noted weaknesses?
Sure, some people find it a bit repetitive. Key ideas get revisited, although you could argue that's intentional reinforcement.
Spaced repetition for learning.
Right. Also, if you're already deeply versed in behavioral psychology, you might find the science a little simplified.
Okay, fair enough. It's aimed at a broad audience.
Exactly. And one more thing.
Mm.
Some find that actually setting up all the initial systems, the habit stacking, the environment design, maybe the tracker can feel a bit time-consuming at the very beginning.
Right, that initial setup phase. So, for someone who hears that and thinks, ugh, another complex system to manage, what makes Clear's approach potentially stick better than others they might have tried? You mentioned the systems quote, but what prevents the system itself from becoming overwhelming?
That's a great question. I think it comes back to 2 things we touched on. The intense focus on starting small, that 2-minute rule, isn't trivial. It's fundamental to overcoming initial resistance. You're not building a giant, intimidating system on day 1.
You're just putting on your running shoes.
Exactly. And second, it's that identity shift. When the small actions start to feel like they align with who you are or who you're becoming, it requires less brute force willpower to maintain the system. It becomes less effortful over time.
Okay, that makes sense. It grounds the system in something deeper than just checklists. How does Atomic Habits then sort of stack up against other big names in this area, like Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit?
Good comparison. Duhigg dives, I'd say, quite a bit deeper into the neuroscience and the case studies behind habit formation. It's fascinating stuff.
More explanatory.
Yeah, more explanatory of the why. Clear is arguably more of a how-to guide. Very practical, very hands-on for implementation.
Okay. And what about, say, Cal Newport's Deep Work? Different focus.
Different focus, yeah. Atomic Habits is broad behavior change, building any good habit, breaking any bad one. Deep Work is specifically about optimizing your ability to focus intensely and produce high-value work, resisting distraction. Both valuable but different angles.
Got it. So, wrapping up the core ideas, who really stands to benefit most from digging into Atomic Habits?
Honestly, it's incredibly broad. Students trying to build better study habits, professionals looking for more productivity or consistency.
Entrepreneurs trying to establish routines.
Absolutely. Or really, anyone who's struggling to kick a bad habit, smoking, procrastination, whatever, or start a positive one like exercise or saving money.
It really reinforces that success isn't usually about these huge, dramatic transformations overnight.
No, it's the product of daily habits,
hmm
not once-in-a-lifetime transformations, as Clear puts it. It's the small things, done consistently.
That really is the profound takeaway, isn't it? Atomic Habits isn't pushing quick fixes. It's about meticulously building these sustainable systems for genuine, long-term change. James Clear does a fantastic job of taking solid behavioral science and making it incredibly simple, practical, and applicable. You walk away with tools you can literally start using immediately.
Yeah, the rules are straightforward and powerful.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. Consider how powerful that idea of voting for your future self really is.
hmm How might applying these 4 laws, focusing on your systems, and consciously casting those small daily votes, how might that not just change your habits, but actually shift your fundamental identity over time?
And how could that perspective change how you approach any goal or aspiration you have, even beyond just forming specific habits?
Something to really think about.
Yeah.
How those tiny shifts ripple outwards.